This week's episode of From the House of the Holly is brought to you by Barbaro Butchers, premium meats and poultry from paddock to plate, and the 100 Club, Stirling Football Club's premier fundraiser raffle. Draw date now extended to round 17, Saturday the 4th of August. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Stirling Saints Football Club podcast from the House of the Holly, your insider look into the players and people who make our humble sporting club. I'm your host, Damon Eaton, and with me is my reliable co-host. Everyone was concerned with his health and well-being recently when he posted himself on Facebook wearing a skin-tight yellow singlet last Saturday night. Good evening to you, Mr. Daniel Tilby. Tills, how you going?
G'day. Hey, Dave, I forgot all about that, mate. It was, that was not a proud moment, that's for sure.
Where did you get that singlet from?
We were a little bit inebriated, and I think the boys found that Bundy box, the memorabilia stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, some hijinks we had.
Yeah, well, I think whoever posted asked everyone to caption it as much as they can. I won't repeat some of them, but a lot of them were unkind, Tills.
Yeah, I got there, so they probably would be. I looked at it once and thought, Jesus Christ, I'm going to stop drinking. So.
And it's been a couple of weeks since our last podcast, Tills. We'll get into our special guest very soon. 2 weeks, mate, a bit of a break.
Yeah.
Now, Tony Trulli was our guest, the president of the 98, of the club in the 98, was there for the merger, and of course. And we've got another past player, celebrated past player, and then some, Tills, on the for this special, I guess you could call it, early edition of From the House of the Holly. Yes,
most definitely. A club legend, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a humble guy, but I'm going to run through a couple of things, a few things about his accomplishments that I've been able to quickly put down on paper. All right, he's a life member of our club. He's a 2-time league fairest and best. And I'm sure if I got anything wrong, make sure you correct me here. He was our 98 league Premiership captain. So he's a committee member, major sponsor. Career 160 games for our club. And as Paulie G posted a few weeks ago, he's our he's played the second most games as a league captain in our club's history. Welcome aboard, special guest, Wade Taseff. How you going, mate?
Good, Davo. How are you, too?
Good, Wade. Good to have you on board, mate.
Good to be here.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see, Wade, after a couple of minutes, mate. We'll see how this runs. How you going, Wade? We just recently met at the committee meeting on Tuesday. How things been this week since last Tuesday, was it? Yeah.
Yes. Yep. All good. I see the league side unfortunately went down on the weekend. Probably what's most disappointing was, I reckon, the Rezzies forfeited. I reckon that would be the first time ever in the club's history that the Rezzies are forfeited.
Oh.
Yeah. As far as I could remember, that's for sure.
Well, Paulie G-Moff's he says he's a long-time listener, which is not really saying much as like our 9th podcast. But Paulie, if you get onto that, mate, it's not a very good statistic to be looking up, but if you can find it and confirm it for us, that'd be interesting to note. Just about that Kenwick game, Wade, round 10, we played them in round 1. We beat them by 10 goals. So and we lost by 107. So that's the turnaround we've had so far this season from 9 rounds away. Not the best thing. And then you've got reserves. We forfeited, but we only lost by 3 goals in round 1 against their reserves. So
has there been a big turnover of players between round 1 and round 10?
Well, I know for the reserves, and Tills, you could back me up here as well. I know that that a lot of the players that have started, the typical culture of waiting to be called up by myself or Molly or whoever's the coach, to say, hey, we're low on players, sure, we'll come down and fill in. We've sort of eased off on that, on the phone calling. We've sort of, all right, let's put the boat out there and see if it floats. And so far, we're springing a lot of leaks there, which we knew would be. And I know it's something we've talked about quite a bit at our committee meetings, and we've talked about the times that I've been in the change rooms after the Resi's matches and so forth, and got a feel and walked around the players and saying, okay, what are you doing here? What do you wish to get out of this? You know, that sort of thing. And we need you. Can you commit more? We need you.
Yeah.
I think we've had guys not scared away, but because we're not chasing them down, they just sort of shrug their shoulders. And I have seen a couple of guys like, I won't mention names, but I do see at least 2 guys who are in that category who have broached the subject of, if you were playing, would you be paying? Because that's what most people play to do. And he goes, yeah, the guy particularly I'm thinking of in mind, he was saying I would, but no one's approached me. And I said, well, no one approaches you. You come down to the club. You're familiar with the club. So
I don't think you can. I think getting away from this mentality of where we have to hold their hand and beg and plead for players to rock up. You know, I mean, I just love playing footy. So I don't know. Maybe think that the enjoyment of football's not the same, but you know, these are young men now, and I think you got to take a bit of thought for their own selves, and you know, you don't need to be asked. You know where the club is, you know you're more than welcome any time. So it'd be nice if they had just had that initiative to come down and you know, take it upon themselves to be a bit more committed anyway.
Yep. I agree, guys. Couldn't agree more. Got to get to the point where we've got to stop babying players. You know, they've got to take some ownership themselves. It's at their club. They're the players. They're the ones getting the most out of it. You know, they've got to step up. That's
it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity right now for them to. I mean, it's never too late to. So I mean, we've had 1 forfeit on the weekend. I mean, that's only 1 forfeit. It could be. There's an opportunity for the remaining. Let's see, 8 games. Is it 8 games or 7 games? Something like that.
8 games, yeah.
8, 9 games. That you know, let's turn up. We've had 1 forfeit. Let that be the writing on the wall. If I don't turn up, if I don't play, if I don't put my name on the board, you know, and put a commitment forward. I mean, I can save this side. That should be the mentality I think of players. Is I can save the side by turning up and saying I'm needed, I'm important, and I'm needed now. So I'm here to play, and I'll pay my fees, and I'll do what I can to help out. Rather than wait to be invited. Most of these guys on that side have been there for long enough to have a sense that they belong there, and they do. The club's theirs, so
yeah, for sure.
That'd be nice if that was the last forfeit. You're right. If they, you know,
it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to be done. Let's see. It's up to everyone else. You know, we do what we can from this end. Anyway, on to Bull Creek Leeming. That's the home game coming up this weekend, round 11. So maybe this is the turnaround. I spoke to Damo Lloyd. A couple of weeks ago, and said that the prospects of after a couple of losses, this is before the bye, and he said, well, you know, we have the bye and hopefully, you know, have better chance on winning on the next few games. So there's still that chance, and you know, should always have that approach to it, no matter where we are. That, you know, it's not just going through the motions. It's we're here to compete. We're here to win.
And Bull Creek down the bottom, aren't they? They're one of the teams we beat in the first round.
That's correct. Yep. I think we won. I think we won the first 2. No, actually, we won the first 3. First 3, and then we've had was it a loss, then a win, and then a few losses after that? I'll have to double check that, but.
First 3 and then loss.
Okay.
Loss. Started off on fire, but sort of.
I think they call that a winning streak, Tills.
Subsided a little bit. Yeah. Sorry, buddy?
I said I think they call that a winning streak, Tills.
That was a winning streak.
Well, that's be
a losing streak, don't
we're very familiar with a losing streak. Playing Wade playing in the Rezzies for a long time, so yeah, familiar with losing streaks. Anyway, let's move on. Wade, mate, look, our special guest. I mean, I've already given you a bit of a rundown of your accomplishments and so forth, but really we'd like to know about. We're going to ask you a couple of questions and get your feedback and your memories, test your memory about those those times, even from your earlier days in the 90s when you started playing league. I mean, you were one of the youngest. Well, how old were you when you captained the league side? Were you 21?
21, yeah, 21.
21.
Yeah, 21, yeah.
And you remained captain to your retirement, which was when?
I finished at the club, I think 2000. I'd been in Melbourne for a couple of years, 2001, 2002, come back in 2003 to Perth and only played a couple of games and then injured my shoulder again and the end of that.
The Taseff curse.
Yeah. So, yeah, it wasn't a good... I finished at 29, which I always thought I'd still be playing in, 35, 40. But playing footy at 29, which is a bit too young, I think. But
most definitely.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Wade, because, I know the rules and so forth have somehow evolved and somewhat evolved since, even in the last 10 years. And there've always been questions about if current players, would they be able to handle it during the 90s? The rulings was different, a bit rougher back then, and a bit more they had to get away with. And same the alternative, older players, if you're playing in your prime this year, would, in this sort of scenario, do you think you would have had a bit more longevity? Do you think your shoulders would have been the same anyway, like the rulings, free kicks?
The shoulders were just bad luck, Damo. The first time I did it was 2000, just before I went to Melbourne. It's 2000, and that was friendly fire. That was Paul Leckis, who was a guy from who played for us. He was on loan from West Perth when we used to get guys who missed out on resis coming down playing with us. And so Paul Leckis was playing for us. And he was the one that hit me on the shoulder and broke it. So that was kind of friendly fire there. So that was just unlucky. And the second time it happened, we were playing Wanneroo. And if he listens to this podcast, I'm sure Crystal Tourist or Itzy would be a great choice. One that smashed my shoulder the second time and broke it there, and then that was the end for me. But I don't blame Itzy for it. I blame Marshy, who was full back at the time. In front of Itzy.
That's right.
Itzy cleaned me up, and that was it. But I Itzy loves telling how he ended my career, but
I think I hear that story from him every time we catch up, Taz.
Yeah, but I blame Marshy. So Marshy, if you're an avid listener, why weren't you in front?
That's right.
But that was it, though. I don't know. I don't know. Every now and then I kind of think, geez, I wouldn't mind playing. I reckon, can I get a kick? But then I get up. You get close enough where you can hear the tackling and the hitting and the bumping, and I think, it's the last thing I want to do is been running around there trying to get a kick. But I reckon just the styles changed a bit, Damo. More, if anything, I reckon and it's probably the same you sort of flowed the style in AFL's change when in sort of mid '90s everything was man on man, one on one, and you played in conditions. Whereas now it just seems like everything's zone and structures and rotations and
slide up and down the ground. Yeah,
it's just a different style. So I don't think it's necessarily a better style, but it's different.
Well, you used to have some cracking matchups, Tass. You'd play in the Sunday League and that you'd get to know the opposition pretty well, and who you'd have that week, and there's a couple of fiery customers that used to come across back in the day.
Remember when '93 was my first year too, and they used to televise some of it on the radio.
That's right.
And I played at Wanneroo that day, and I was playing on a guy, Stephen Hill, Aboriginal guy, who super quick. He kicked 5 goals on me in the wet, so it was probably like the equivalent of 10. And I know I was talking to, sort of after that, so I got towed up by him, and then I was talking to Rock Fazari, who I was playing with at the time, and I can remember Rock was almost sort of, too sheepish to tell me how they were bagging me out on the radio. the veteran Stephen Hill had taken the rookie to town, and yeah, I didn't like playing on Stephen Hill too, and I didn't get to play on him too many more
times. Fond memories, Taz.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's good occasionally. I think played on JR occasionally.
Oh. Yeah, that was always my favourite matchup.
When he was playing, when he sort of went off to Thor, he played for a few Sunday League time teams there. So I played on him occasionally. He was a good player, and he was awesome. 90 tough and skillful, and he had a presence about him for not a massive guy, but
he'd go pretty hard.
Yeah, he strutted around, and he had presence about him. So he was always good. Well, not good to play on, but it was
yeah, I used to enjoy watching that one, that's for sure.
Did you used to relish that matchup, Wade? Was it something you used to really sort of have to... I mean, you always seem to be the guy who was always switched on anyway, but with that sort of matchup, did you feel as if there was just something a little extra you had to do there?
We both like JR. I mean, JR had a good reputation at Aussie Park. Was a legend at Aussie Park.
Yeah.
Premiership player. 70 goal kicker a year. Good. So, I used to pack myself a little bit. In a sense. More not scared of the contest, but scared of getting towed up.
Yeah. How's
that? And so I suppose, should I sort of say the kids now, I reckon most of my career I played on fear of getting towed up with the radio,
another poor review on the wireless.
Radio, so I suppose that was probably a lot of the time. I don't know if it's the most enjoyable way to play footy, Damo, but most of the preparation was just fear of getting towed up by guys like that, and especially if you're sort of down in the back line, you make a mistake, someone kicks a goal, and you sort of know where to hide after that. Midfield or the forward line, it's kind of, you're not so exposed, I suppose. But,
you don't appear as accountable and as responsible for that same mistake, So it's
not as costly, is it? If you make a mistake down on the fullback line, someone marks on it or something, it's a goal. Well, I don't know, Damo. I just always wanted to play well. Lucky enough to play in some pretty good sides too, which made playing in the back line easier at times too. So, fortunately, they played with some really good guys back there. So, yeah.
So what about the idea that you talked about playing out of fear, but I do remember quite a few years ago now where you'd have, I think it's even when we were coming back to after trainings or going back to Arnie Dankers and having dinner there. I remember you once saying to me there are moments where you can feel it, that you're just going, you can feel it after the first couple of touches of the ball, and the guy you're playing against who's supposed to be creating space, getting the ball, making it happen the forward line, but that you're actually early on that you're going to absolutely crush him out there. You've had many moments like that too, Wade?
I don't know many moments like that, but I always, if I got a touch early or did something good early, I kind of knew it'd be all right.
Yeah.
And that's, I suppose, alleviated the fear a little bit of not stuffing up, of getting beaten more so than stuffing up.
Yeah.
Always, if I got a touch early or did something good early, and it's kind of mental. That fear factor went away to a degree, and then I kind of knew, I knew things would go all right. So that was probably the main thing for me: a touch early or something good early, and that just calmed things down. You got your headspace. You could get into a good headspace, and I don't know too. And so if you have a contest against whoever you're playing on early, and sometimes if it's a physical kind of a marking contest, and you come out on top. There is some confidence that flows from that you think, right, I got it. But again, in the back line too, and played some in the midfield, some in the back line. In the back line, if you're in a good side, sometimes when you're out of position, you get helped out by people, or if the ball's not coming down, or it's coming down under pressure all the time, it makes things a lot easier too. Yeah. So, whereas if it's coming down
all
under
the time.
no, it's very ordinary, very quickly.
So, Wade, let's talk about your origins, mate. Whereabouts did you start playing footy? Were you just a normal? I don't even know the full story myself. Started out in juniors, made the transition through the affiliate juniors club straight into Aussie Park, or was it just along those lines? Is it a typical footballing story on your part?
Yeah, pretty nothing special. Started in year 2 at Takari, which was a primary school in the area.
Mm-hmm.
First coach was Ray Levitt, which is Levo's.
Yeah.
Oh, right, really?
Levo's so he was my first coach, actually, and the captain of my first team that I played for was a guy called Matt Connell, who went on and I think won 2 premierships and a first and best in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So that was at Takari, and then I think in about under 11s we became Osborne Park and joined up with Osborne Park there. And then played through there at under 17s, coached in under 17s by Lou De Cinque, who's the legend of the club there, and so coached by Lou in under 17s, and then went down to Colts straight after under 17, so stayed in the area and coached by Mick Daff in the Colts for the first year. Second year coached by Greg Snow. First year, I think we finished 5th or 6th. We're just out of the finals. And the second year of Colts, we finished 3rd. We lost the preliminary final by a point, which was very disappointing. And I think if we had won that one, we would have had all 3 teams in the league. But in the grand final. But unfortunately, the league team, who won the second semi by about 10 goals against Wanneroo, got beaten in the grand final, and I think the Rezzies went down as well that year. But anyway, and then so I played 2 years of Colts, and then Greg Carpenter was the league coach in '93, and fortunate enough that he gave me and a number of other sort of younger guys, Johnny Clary, Phil Martino,
filthy.
Wayne Didlow, Rock Fazari, gave us all our shot in the league. And fortunate enough that even when I did get towed up by Stephen Hill, there, gave me another chance and probably a few more chances as well. And then sort of managed to get a spot in the league team and played there. 94 was disappointing. We lost the grand final by 10 points that year it's easy to say now, I suppose. I think we had the best side talent-wise. We just didn't get it done on the day, unfortunately. And then, that was disappointing. 95 was sort of an average year. 96, JR coached.
Mm-hmm.
In 96, and I tell you, it ended disappointingly. We lost the elimination final. We finished 4th, I think, and lost the elimination final after being 6 or 7 goals up. Quarter time there, and we just lost the plot a bit after that. But I must admit that year,
that was amazing. That year was unbelievable.
Give JR some credit. He brought the boys together. I mean, we started off slow. We might have been 2-4 after the first 6 games, and then we just got on a run of 8 or 9 in a row, and was, smashing sides. Just playing super footy. And then I remember every Sunday night we'd end up at someone's house. But there was just great spirit. At midnight and. Bloke Troy Morrison, I don't know if you remember, he kicked 9 goals. Just some of these blokes, and Ad was playing, I think Ben was playing good footy, and Tilbo, you were playing back then as well.
Jobby and Matty and
God.
That's right.
Crackers, Chatty, Jesus. It's,
Alan, Joey Cocker, I think, was still running around for us as well.
He was, yeah.
We just, I don't know, there was some spirit in that side, you know, and it was kind of a bit of a shame that it ended the way it did, but that run of, you know, like I said, 8 or 9 games was probably as good a run as ever had in footy, you know, just was smashed the confidence. It was unbelievable, and action sides, you know, just Gordon Cole, I think, was playing then too.
Yep.
Darren Narrier as well. So
that's right, yeah, superstar.
We had a good side. 97 was very disappointing. We finished on the bottom there, and that was the year just before the merger, which was disappointing way I was supposed to end the Sunday League. No merger, which was good, won the Premiership, which was fantastic. And then 99 were in A grade after that, and then that's pretty much, I went away for a couple of years to Melbourne with work, and then come back and only played a little bit there before getting injured. But the years then when I was away were good years for the club with Trevor Green, and disappointed that they didn't win an A-grade flag at that stage. I know they played finals every year, and unfortunately I think one of the years lost in a prelim by a kick or so when it was just raining.
It was bucketing down. Yeah, it was a terrible day.
And they just got caught out by a kick there. So, I suppose that's my journey.
Well, let's go back. I mean, I remember seeing some old footage. I'm going to go way back. I remember seeing some old footage. You actually played as a forward, if I'm not mistaken, when your early days. I think you've only then still got video footage, you and Uncle George, of you playing as a young chap, and you kicked something like 6 or 7 goals. There's footage of you snapping a couple of set shots. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but that was more in juniors. Under 17s kicked 9 goals in a game.
Yeah. Far out.
Terrible team, but a terrible team. I played up forward as a junior. But there, from the Sunday League, didn't kick many goals in Sunday League at all. Actually, Paulie, I won the free kicks, got that stat. I reckon I'd be lucky if I kicked 10 or 15 in the whole time. There, few in Colts, not so much in league. But yeah, it started a bit. I played a bit as forward as a junior, Damo, and but then Colts made me played around the middle.
Yeah.
And then the league, at least initially, was half back. Probably for the first, mainly under Carps was half back, and then more to the middle a bit, but and then sort of middle back sort of part after that. So no, I didn't kick many goals. I reckon in the league team, I reckon the most I ever kicked was probably 2 in a game.
But was that when you were in the middle, or is that when you were up forward?
Went up for a couple of times under Kevin Caton, went up forward a bit. Especially early on, I remember I started up forward. I think one game actually was against Bassendean. I reckon I kicked 2 goals in the first quarter, but then whoever was playing back got injured, and I went back after that. So I reckon if I kept that strike rate up, Damo, I would have kicked 8.
8, easy tap.
So Kev Caton, blame him.
Caton, he's cost you.
I look back from there too. Would have been
was it Marcy that got injured in the back line?
No, that would have been me paying him back, or paid back. Marcy got injured, but he was a hanging machine for a fullback.
Oh, mate.
Land on his head all the time. That's why I was wearing that helmet, mate.
That's right.
Knocked himself out after taking Mark of the year.
It was good to watch, but then the aftermath was just, fucking hell, Marcy.
He's killed himself.
Yeah. No, it was a good player.
Yeah. Solid.
All right, well, what about the, let's go to the 98 year then, Wade. We'll probably spend a bit of time around this area, because it's 20-year anniversary this year from that dual Premiership B grade with the league and reserves. I mean, excuse me. If we're talking about that was the year after the merger or the year before, the year on the merger?
Well, so 97 we finished last in the Sunday League, and I think Balcatta, they lost the grand final that year. Maybe to I'm not sure who, but they lost the grand final. If they'd won that, they would have been in A grade.
Right.
they'd lost. So that was 97. So and then 98, we both merged. Now I suppose for different reasons. I suppose we had a Colt side and sort of a bit younger, plus having two teams so close to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we were struggling in the Sunday League too as well for numbers, and there was sort of a movement away of people wanting to play on Sundays and, play Saturdays so you can have a drink Saturday night sort of thing. So, and, for us, for a whole host of reasons, it made sense to merge, and probably viability or financial viability being up there as well. A bigger club, more people sharing the same facilities. So, but there was some nervousness, I suppose, on both sides. With the merger, everyone's worried about losing their history and their culture and their club. So, there was a little bit nervous there. But having said that, I mean, there was a number of blokes at Balcatta that had been at Osborne Park at various times. So there was a little bit of familiarity there, I suppose. When Paul Franceschini was down there, and the Sanzoni boys, Andrew, Paul, and Lego were all there.
That's right. Yeah.
So there was a bit of familiarity, and they were, they were playing good footy, those guys at the time. So, there's a little bit of nervousness, but once it went through, and Kevin Caton was on board, Kevin got played AFL, was a good player for Swan Districts as well. So and had been very successful with Balcatta and taking them. So he got on board and coached the side. It was a pretty good year for first up. Paulie, if you're listening again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we went 16-2 that year, and I reckon we dropped round 8 and 9 to Hammersley, Careen, and Nollamara. And so we ended up, I think, finishing on top, 16-2. And we had a good side. Should we? No question. Two clubs merging. We had sort of the pick of both, and it might be hard for you guys to believe, although you were both there, or for other listeners to believe, we had a good Resi side too.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. A Resi side's full of depth. We've got a lot of blokes that could have and should have played league. There just was a lot of people down there. So we're fortunate enough, that we had a good side and with some, excellent players. And, Rue was playing back then. He was centre half back. He was, a star.
Absolutely.
So we had, a lot of good players. And that's what we should have, I suppose. You look at it, it's a combination of two sides. And then I can remember the second semi-final. We played Hammersley Careen at Bassendean, and Bassendean was underwater that day, and they beat us fairly comfortably, I think, in that game. And not that we were nervous or anything, but there was a lot of expectation on that. We were two sides combined, so we were, favourites to win and go up to A grade.
Yeah. Especially after Balcatta making the grand final the year before, pre-merger.
And geez, you look at blokes like Paul Sanzoni, Fraggers, Rue, Charlie Bertolone, all bloody good players, in primes of their, careers as well. So, we lost that. Then we played, it might have been Collegians in the prelim, but I remember I missed that game, I think, injured with the hamstring then, but we won easily that day. And then got into the grand final. The grand final was at Claremont Oval, and it was sort of an overcast sort of day. And I remember we started pretty slowly in that game, and at one point in the second quarter fell sort of 3 or 4 goals behind, I think. But managed to steady and then ended up winning by about 8 or 9 goals in the end, which was, fantastic. It was great for the club to get into A grade in its first year, and great to live up to all the expectations. It was interesting. The Resis, I think the Resis too lost the second semi and then came through and belted. I can't recall, Till. Who did you guys play in the grand final?
I think it was Bassendean.
Yeah, but you belted them.
Belted them, yeah. It was, it was pretty one-sided. It was, it was a good day.
Yeah, bigger win in the league. I think the league was around 47, 48 points. So that was good. But a few things I suppose I can always remember. The Thursday night before the grand final, the selection headaches are the one thing that stands out the most for me. Or just what I remember there is the last man in the league team, or selected in the league team. I'm sure it's been 20 years now, so any confidentiality with happens in the match committee room, probably people give me for disclosing it. But the last spot come down to Stevie Suz and Gabby Phil Gabus.
Yeah.
And it was very, very tight, and they went with Gabby in the end over Stevie. I mean, I was always a big Stevie Suz fan from the Aussie Park days, fight customer. But, he just went and a gunfight for Balcala during his time as well was, I think, a fairest and best winner there. And I think he ended up winning the league fairest and best for us after the merger as well. And he was a bloody good player as well. So it was kind of a no-lose situation for the team.
Just a bit disheartening that someone's got to miss out,
Yeah, fortunate.
Both well and truly deserved a spot. But,
unfortunate for Stevie, but, he copped it on the chin and, did the business in the Rezzies as well, So credit to him and credit to Gabby as well, who, not only was a good player that year, but for the years before and the years after. So it was a good result, and good to get into A grade straight away, as we were expected to do with the side we had. So, good start for the merger.
It's that time once again where we take a break from our weekly episode from the House of the Holy. Just hold on there, please, Wade and Tills and myself, just so I can talk a little bit more about our major sponsor for today's episode, and indeed a major sponsor for our footy club, Stirling, and has been a major sponsor for quite some time. Barbara Butchers. Guys, these guys are the premier in meat. If you want to host a barbecue and you want to make sure that your guests come around and say, you know what, I had a gutful of their food and that was the best meat I've ever eaten, well, there's only one place to get it, and that's from Barbaro Butchers. Our club's association with Barbaro Butchers through RAF and all the boys over there has been a long-standing one, to a point where we've even had one of the Barbaro boys have played for us. Dave Barbaro's played for us in the past, and it was quite handy. I remember playing alongside him. It's pretty good. But enough about the football. Let's talk about things that are important. Let's talk about their product, and my goodness, what products they have. They were established in 1987, and one of the things that Raf really wanted to establish, I understand, is that he wanted to make sure that the quality of meats that he produces for us is top-notch, award-winning, the best you could possibly get north of the river. And it's pretty easy to say that he's pretty much accomplished that. It's nice to know where your meat comes from, and they have been a family butchers for a long time. They've forged long and strong standing relations with just about all their suppliers. Some go back 3 decades. They're loyal partnerships and companies who share similar values that allow us to constantly deliver the highest quality produce. Look, if you just want to walk in and buy your meat, this is the place to get it from. But if you want to take it a step further and you want to say, okay, I'm hosting a barbecue, but I want to actually socialise with my friends and so forth, I don't want to actually spend the time cooking all this, guess what? Barbaro boys, they'll do it for you. They have a broad range of beef, pork, lamb and chicken. They're all crowd-pleasing, award-winning. Their sausages have won many awards. And guess what? It is literally from paddock to plate. They actually, with their business thriving, they've determined to stay true to their values. They've always found a way to get their meat to be as fresh as possible. And then what better way to do it than actually have your own farm? Mogumba Farm is what they have. They get their meat from Mogumba Farm. So they have family out there and breed their own cattle and so forth, and they make their own meat. And they, from when it's grazing to when you're grazing, it's all 100% Barbaro Butchers. So how do you get in contact with them? Well, it's pretty simple. You can contact RAF and anyone who's working behind there via phone. Their phone number is 92474244. That is 92474244. You can contact them that way. They've got a website barbarobutchers.com. It is a magnificent website, worth checking out. If you haven't been able to tell, I've been reading it from it, most of it, the parts that I've been doing it smoothly. Or you can actually visit them. It's Shop 2, 120 Cockman Road, Greenwood, WA. Look, they've been there for ages. They're open Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and on Saturdays from 7 to 1. Look, that shop again, Shop 2, 120 Cockman Road, Greenwood, WA. Monday to Friday, 7 to 5:30, and on Saturdays, 7 to 1 o'clock. Look, guys, it's highly regarded. We had a couple of our players, when I posted this on there, they said, look, it's worth going in just to grab some of their beef jerky. They've got some good stuff in there. Established in 1987, Stirling Football Club are proud to have past sponsorship and present support from Barbaro Butchers. Do yourselves a favour, get over there and get a gobful of their meat. So, you're thinking about buying a ticket for the 100 Club raffle draw. This exclusive draw where the prizes are fantastic. $2,000 for first prize, $1,000 for second, $500 for third, and if you're the unfortunate soul to be the first eliminated from the draw, you get your cash back, 100 schmackers. Not bad. If you're thinking about buying a ticket but you think, oh dear, the draw date is this Saturday, well, you've got a welcome surprise coming your way. Because we haven't quite fulfilled all the ticket sales, but they are going very quickly. We've jumped from about 60 to now about 20. Those are available. We're extending this date. We're going to extend the draw date. See, round 17, which I understand is the 7th of August. It's Saturday, 7th of August. And look, if you buy a $100 ticket, this is what you get. Not only are you in the chance to win this awesome prize money, but you turn up on that day, which is round 17, Saturday, 7th of August, from the start of the draw from 5 o'clock to the end of the final draw, 8 o'clock. That's 3 hours. You have free access to the bar. Well, you don't have free access to the bar. We've got bar stuff there, and you probably wouldn't want to get your beer anyway, but you get free drinks from the bar, not including spirits or cocktails, beer, wine, free. Of course, you paid $100, but you have it free. And plus, on top of that, you have food. We're going to get some food from KFC and some of the local businesses, and it's going to be free spread. Tuck in. So you get to watch the game, the end of the league, sit around for presentations, be a part of the fun, have some food and some drinks, and it's all worthy cause. All the funds go towards our football club to further support us in doing what we do best, and that's playing good quality footy. So, what tickets are available, Damon? You might be asking. Well, let me tell you right now. I've got the grid in front of me, and I can tell you there's a couple of ticket numbers that are really glaring to me. Number one hasn't been bought up. It's still available. Number 99 is still available. If you're looking for the 60s, forget about it. Taken. All taken. I'm sorry. In fact, pretty much the first 20 numbers, except for number 1, are all done. So, yeah, the hot zones, look, there's got to be people born in the 70s, and I'm sure there are, looking for tickets, because 70, 73, 74, 75, 78, 79, they're all available. Most of the 80s are too. So, if you want to get a ticket, just email me. Just drop me a line. Or at the bottom comments of this presentation here from the House of the Holy, put it in the comments, Damo, I'd like a ticket. No worries, I can do that for you. You can contact me by my phone number. If you have my phone number, if you know someone who has my phone number. If you're reading on the back of a toilet stall, there's my phone number. It's probably been there for a while, but there you go. It's still the same number it's always been. That's 0400 988 313. 0400 988 313. Text me, direct message me, carrier pigeon me if you know where I live. If you do, I'm going to be surprised and scared at the same time. Put in a request, get a number, be a part of this. Most importantly, support the club. The club needs your support. This is one way for you to do it. If you haven't been able to turn up for the evening, that's okay. It's all right. We will still notify you if and when you win one of the prizes. So the 100 Club, drawn round 17, the 7th of August. Be a part of it. We now return you back to regular programming. So, look, there was obviously the celebrations that followed after that were quite long. The Mad Monday. Did you participate in the Mad Monday?
Well, I think on the Saturday night was at the club.
Yeah.
Were we up at the
Northie.
The Northlands. Yeah, is it still the Northlands?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Northlands. So we were there on.
Yeah, it was the Northlands then,
Yeah.
Roundhouse? Is it the round?
Roundhouse, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
It was Roundhouse.
It's a roundhouse. Now, it was a northeast, but there. And we're up in the northeast, and I suppose that probably didn't play out as.
Did we end up back at the club that night as well, Taps? I remember there was a time there, I think it was me, you, and Benny Priestley, or...
I think that was a couple of years later, mate, then probably we won't go there.
Yeah, no. We took off quite early.
Yeah, that was one Sunday till that was I reckon that was one of the O'Brien when Obi was coaching us.
Could have well done, yes. Yeah, that rings a bell.
But yeah, I just got a bit messy. I remember at the old the Northlands there. And yeah, probably didn't end well for a few people, but
they'll probably happy to see the end of us too.
But that was good fun, good celebration. It was a good win. I just in terms of I remember who played well. I know Marshy was excellent on grand final day. Really good, kept us in there when it got tight at the end. Rue was great. He was playing on this guy, which had a centre forward for them, and sort of had this. It was sort of like a Native American. Had a bit of that look about him. Had this long ponytail, and he was super quick around. And Rue was playing on him at centre half back, and not as quick as him, but smarter and tougher and good contest. So Rue played well, and Ad was playing. That they had a good guy in the middle. Used to play Wanneroo Sunday League, Gosh and Bibby, and one of the matchups was Ad was to play on him. It wasn't a tag or anything, not a hard tag or anything like that. It was just he's your man, you match up on him, and that was that was a good contest, and Ad probably got on top of him there, and that was really helpful to the cause, I suppose. So. I think the other thing I think happened is they had a good ruckman too, and we had a good ruckman. Johnny Hunt was probably a little bit before time in a sense. This super mobile, could have played ruck rover sort of bloke. Just agile and mobile and moved well. But he, if I recall rightly, he smashed their ruckman in one of that was a contest, and he. Their ruckman was pretty good as well, but he might have copped Johnny Hunt's knee in the gut. And then he ended up going off, which helped our cause, that's for sure. That was a good start, honestly, but yeah, I think I reckon we were better. We had some real talented players. Oh,
there's some superstars out there. It's and right across all the lines. It was really it wasn't any weakness anywhere really. It was.
No, that was
everyone had a role, and they did it so well.
Do you remember you later in the game when the game was pretty much all but in hand? I mean, I remember this from when we had the 10-year reunion from the 98 grand finals where all the past players turned up, and all have a few drinks, and we actually had video footage of the game that was actually put on the projector there. But I do remember this part, and this is one that I think everyone was sort of vying for. You probably know which part I'm talking about. We decided to float down to the forward line and had an opportunity to kick a goal late in the game. Any memories of that one, Wade?
I do. I think one guy belted me. He gave me a good bum, didn't he? Knocked me over. But we lost all the last sort of 10 or so minutes. I think it was 7 or 8 goals, and lost all formation after that. I can remember being on the goal line and thinking, I had the ball, and then someone gave me cracked out of it. Hammersley bloke gave me a beautiful bump and just stuffed the ball out. But I was on our goal line, just there was it was a nice feeling, when it's over and you and you got it, sort of, and it was nice after given 94 when we lost. That was kind of the opposite feeling where you sort of. We only lost by 10 points, so it's kind of strange. It's one of those games where we're always either between 2 and 3 goals down and could never quite bridge it. So, but that was always kind of hope that, we'll eventually get our act together and get on top, but it never. And, that was probably the best side I played in, I think, across the board, and it sounds a bit of a shame that it didn't win, but anyway, that's the way it goes.
Yep, no worries. Well, let's talk about post-footballing career for you, Wade, from this point. Let's change a couple of gears here, mate. Like you said, your shoulders were sort of like, were probably the one things, but you're fit. You were extremely fit. I would even argue, probably you were fitter when you retired from throughout your 30s and possibly, and I'd say probably throughout most of your 40s as well. I mean, you were doing a fair bit with the half marathons and doing all the probably full marathons too, and did Ironman, doing Ironman competitions and that. So I mean, what got you into that? Was it just the fact that you just wanted to do something? You just got the itch, you had to do something on the weekend?
Yeah, I'm lighter now than when I was playing footy, and if I had my time again, Damon, too, I would have played lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. I reckon in the I got a little, just was a little heavy, and I reckon if I wish I spent a little bit more time on speed, because I never was particularly quick, and endurance as well. You know, I mean, if speed's not great, if you can run longer and steadier than the guy you're on, you'll get, eventually you can work out. So, and I suppose I only learnt that from, post-football. Yeah, got into doing some triathlons and cycling, probably the main thing, mountain biking and road riding, just to do other than running, impact sort of stuff of running. And anyways, cycling, you can move at a decent pace, and the world goes by and you can see stuff, and so it's kind of nice to do that. So yeah, just need to be active, Damo. I suppose the other thing, I sort of said to myself, got married in a suit of a certain size. I never want to, I want to be buried in the, when I'm buried, I want to be the same size. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So I suppose enjoyed riding, and sort of a number of blokes that I played footy with, like John Ivlich, who's into it as well. Was sort of finished footy up. A few guys got into it, and of course you
got your yearly competition down south as well with the more social aspect. The team, what was it? It's swimming, running, cycling, and was it kayaking?
Canoeing. Yeah, we did that Augusta race down there with Johnny Suz,
Greenie.
Yeah,
Shane.
Greenie. Yep. Ad, myself, Buddha, Anthony Payne as well. So, Bush, yeah, he just turned out there with a $2,000 bike that he rode once.
And he's having cigarettes while he was racing as well.
Stopped through the course to have a cigarette. So it probably wasn't as intense as footy, but it was good fun. So yeah, that's the main sort of stuff. So I just just don't want to blow out, I suppose, is the main thing. And sort of just keep. Another thing is, keep moving as long as you can. With sort of inertia, you have a tendency to keep doing what you're doing. If you sort of stop and stay still, you'll stay still. So if I keep moving, I'll keep moving. Is what I do. So
their mantra,
yeah. So that's what I've been. Just like keeping fit, I suppose.
No worries. And now, of course, the association with the club, I mean, you're a life member. Uncle George, your dad's obviously a life member. Both you guys are long-term committee members now. And that's what you're facing, I guess, as a major sponsor and also a committee member now. I mean, obviously, the prospects of us for the last few years at our club's obviously a bit different from those 90s. How's your your view or passion of the club? I mean, I'm assuming it hasn't diminished since since then. But what's your general view of our club at this stage? I mean, this is probably I don't know if it's touched you or not, but what's your general view of how you think about the club is now? And I mean, obviously, where do we go from here?
Yeah, good question, Dam. I suppose I don't know. I think maybe just people are different now, I suppose. When I was playing, especially growing up playing footy juniors during the 80s, and we used to go down after we were playing on 13s, 14s, 15s on Sunday Arvo, go down watch the Sunday League play down there, and if you weren't ever going to play waffle or stuff like that, that's, you aspired to play Sunday League, because they had, a lot of guys playing there that had been at waffle clubs and were bloody good players. Carps was down there as a 27-year-old, so it's kind of in his prime. You've got this guy playing down there. Justin Kickett was playing in 86 and 87 there, so, I've seen Justin Kickett play for ages, and these guys, these guys were guns, and we looked up to them, so... And then in sort of the natural progression was after under 17. Like I said, if you didn't make West Perth Colts or whatever the Colts side was at the time, you went to Aussie Park, and during the 90s, there was always numbers when I was playing. There was always heaps of Colts. There was always people missing out.
Yeah.
I don't know, it seemed like we had plenty of helpers and lots of depth, and, we've bloody successful club too. The league side was always there or thereabouts in the finals, playing in the grand final pretty regularly. I think the Rezzies played in 7 or 8 grand finals in a row. So there was always depth. Our Saturday side was, bloody good as well. And there was always abundance of Colts coming through. So, and I just think back then people maybe, a bit of a different breed, keener to play, wanted to play footy. It wasn't sort of what's in it for me. It's just, I'm happy to help the club out. I'm not, I don't see the club's not doing me a favour, or I'm not doing the club a favour by playing down there. It's a great club, and I want to be at this great club. And, I had some of the best experience, best times of my life at that club, growing. We had some massive nights down there, the Sunday League days, some massive Friday nights, and, the whole club would go out, there'd be 50 or 60 blokes in roomers, on a Friday night. and then you'd wobble down the road, and there'd Frankie Figgle be, and the Steve-O boys, so it was...
you'd run into someone, no matter where you went.
Yeah, and there was just numbers, and people were passionate about the club and wanted the club to... I just wonder if the same level of passion is there, Damon. If there's there's other stuff they do, and, when I hear stories of people saying, the coaches saying, I got a team, but so-and-so rang me last night at 2 a.m. and told me he was drunk and couldn't make it.
Yes.
I just don't get it. I always tell, when people tell me, I tell them, Phil Martino, this way Sunday League Colts, like, you'd have to, everything was get on Tonkin Highway and just drive forever.
Yeah.
So, you're playing Armidale at 8:30 in the morning, so you'd have to be there at 7:30. You'd leaving home at sort of 7 a.m. to get there, to get there in time. And you'd have folks like Phil Martino who'd go out all night on the booze. There's never, ever, ever any question or any doubt about him turning up. Yeah. He'd have to be there at 7:30, 8 o'clock. He'd be there, and no excuses. He played good, bad, ugly. No excuses. It's just, I've made a commitment to the club. Yeah, okay, if I've gone out and had a good time, so be it, but I'll be there and I'm having a crack. Nowadays they ring up and say I'm not coming. It's like, well, where's your priorities?
No fear of beratement or anything as well.
Sorry?
No fear of beratement or further consequences of saying, that's the way it is. Don't expect to call up next week.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if you didn't turn up back in, the days when you got numbers, it just would be, we don't need you at the club, mate. We're not, that's not the culture we're looking to foster here. But, now they kind of know, if I don't turn up, I'll get a game next week. No one's going to, they're going to need me, and I'm doing them a favour, and I'm not going to pay my fees. I don't really care. So, I don't know, look, I sort of asked what I think. Yeah, yes, I'm as passionate about the club as ever, but my view is kind of, it's not my turn now, I'm past it, I go and watch the league team. I think Michael Fragger's about the only bloke I know. It's just, it's not my turn anymore. I've had my time. Someone else or the young guys have got to step up and own the club and and hopefully take it back. just a step at a time to where, it should be. You just got to look at the wall at our club, the players that have played there, and, gold. It's surely that's got to instill a little bit of pride in these guys, but hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. Like we said, we forfeited Resi's probably for the first time ever on the weekend, and hopefully a number of players read it or hear it and think that's never happened again. On my thing. So
I wasn't there. I know I'm responsible for that.
Yep. But hopefully that's how they think. Hopefully, but I'm not going to hold my breath either, Damo, until I see some results. And don't have to win. You don't know. You just got to be out there having a crack. And I did see a couple of Resi's games earlier in the year, and I thought, geez, good on you, mate. They were having a crack. Throwing themselves in. It wasn't going their way, but hey, they were competitive.
Yeah.
And I thought good on them, but it's disappointing that seems to have fallen away.
Well, we'll just see what we can take from next week and the week following. And like I said, when we were talking about the committee, we were obviously talking about putting things into play step by step for this season. There'll be some changes, I'm sure. Some will be gradual, some of them will be sudden, and certainly we're not going to be thinking too far in the distance. But obviously, there'll be at the end of the season, we'll do a rethink about where do we go from here. But one last thing, Wade. We'll move it. So we're coming up to the hour mark right now. It's all very good, but we do a bit of lighthearted stuff at the very end, usually at most of these podcasts. Tils, should we do the old the 1, 2, 3 sort of thing? How we do the grand final stuff and all that? And I want to throw in another one as well, which I'm pretty much know what the answer is going to be anyway. But
right.
Well, Wade, let's see now. Okay, let's see grand final. Let's do this one. We'll start off with this one here. Grand final. Siren's gone, Wade. And we're down a kick. The kick has to be on 40, so the guy's standing on the mark at about 35. So from 40 out, dead in front. The kick to win the grand final after the siren. Any player in your playing career, who would you rather have the ball in the hand to take that shot?
Probably Brett Fullerton.
Full forward in 94. Used to play at East Perth, over from East Perth. Beautiful kick, thumping kick. Mm-hmm. Yep, I think in 94 might have kicked 70 or 80 goals for us. Yes, I would have him.
No worries. Okay. All right, what about... let's just say that you found yourself swamped by, it's a bit heated, opposition players. All of a sudden there's a melee that's broken out. You're in the middle of it. You're in the bottom of the pack. All you see is opposition jumpers, and you're trying to fight your way out of it or make your way out. Who's the one player you would like to see from your team is on your side helping you out? Who'd be the one you'd rather see there?
Puss, Adam Fellows. In the
just by his voice alone.
94 grand final. We're playing. I'm trying to think who was playing, and it was in the game there, and actually they videoed the game, and Peter Bosusto was commentating, and that's why I have no respect for Peter Bosusto after this anyway. Was some guy, and we're sort of just standing up wrestling, and then he's just kneed me in the nuts. And Peter Bosusto's gone. I'm trying to think who it was, but did it. But anyway, Bosusto's gone. Oh, well, he saw it. It was not on the video, but he saw it, and he's gone, oh, well, yeah, I suppose that's what happens in grand finals. That's all part of the game. And I was thinking, no, it's not. But it would have got very ugly, it would have got smashed if Puss hadn't jumped in. So I would always, Puss would be the guy I would like in a melee, because then I reckon I could slowly ease my way out.
Puss would happily take over.
Puss, and I got a lot of respect for Puss, and both as a footballer and as a bloke and as a tough bloke too. So. Yeah.
I do remember that. I do remember you telling that moment. Do you remember when I was this would have been maybe 99, 2000, when I was up in Derby, Wade,
Yeah.
And they had the promo talks with the AFL players or ex-players. And I said, Robert DiDomenico and Peter Bozzasto's up there. And you said, if you ever get a chance to ask him about that. Did I ever tell you that I actually did ask him about that?
Yeah, I think you did, Damo, and then
he was a bit sheepish about it, to tell you the truth, because he wasn't as he wasn't made for the for that sort of pub talk sort of thing, And I did ask him the question, mind you, in my own fashion. I'd made it a bit long-winded, but I got there eventually. But Buzz knew exactly what I was talking about, and he actually spoke to me afterwards, and he actually did pardon the pun, a blow-by-blow of pretty much the whole grand final.
Yeah. Because we lost to Canning, and I think he coached Canning and played for Canning at one point. But I just, when he said that's part of the game, then someone in the nuts when they're not expecting it.
Yeah, it's
no respect for him. After that, a lot of respect for Puss for helping me out.
Brilliant.
Okay. And I'll throw in one more. This is the one I think I know the answer until as soon as I ask the question. You'll laugh at the question because you'll know what the answer is. But there'll be one more question after that. Wade, in any sport, who is the best at mental disintegration?
He's not a professional athlete
by any stretch.
He's far from it, actually.
Well, I think he'd probably put himself as being the next family member to be inducted as a life member at the club if you gave him the chance to ask.
I think, and at least, well, not for him. Probably the most talented player never to get recognition for it. Yes, it would be Troy. Just a couple of things about Troy. I remember him. They were in the rooms before one game. I think DD must have been the coach, Don DeCinque.
Yes.
And anyway, they're in there, and DD's revving them up before the game, and Troy's got these headphones on, and he's listening to the Essendon game, and DD's going, it was all quiet, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Troy's gone, Lloyd! Lloyd, so he was listening to the Essendon game, or something, and he's ripped the headphones off. So he took it pretty casually, although I think he always says to me, so he didn't come back to the club till he was about 27. His promising reserve career reignited in, although it was a dual premiership, no, one premiership he played in F-Troop, I think. He always regrets, he says he regrets he started playing footy, or played juniors, came back to footy too late at 27. He wished he'd started earlier, and he's actually still playing a bit now in the...
Well, he's a journeyman. He's played over in the BAFL and the US Football League as well. Yeah.
But, very good, and I know Frankie Figan that when they were playing F-Troop with him, they used to get a good laugh, not only in mental disintegration of the opposition, but it's probably best at it with his own team. As soon as they did something wrong, it was on him. I'll finish up with one before you. Just one other lesson actually I learned at the club, which I carried with me going forward, is never judge anyone by how they look when they turn up to train.
Yeah.
And I say that in 1994, this guy's turned up, and he, just if you were going to pick a footballer, this is kind of the least person you'd pick.
Yeah.
If he was like 5'4", almost round in shape, he had all bandaged up and knees and that, and he's balding, and he just like, this guy can't play. And back then, we'd start off training with so on Wednesday night there'd be the league, the reserves, and the F Troop would all just start off together, do the first warm up together, and then get up into league and reserves, and the Saturday side would go off as well. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we started, and then we've done the warm up, and this guy's out there in the warm up, and then we've gone to split into the league and reserves, and this guy's come over to the league and reserves, and Saturdays, and I was just going, what the hell's going on in here? Anyway, that guy would be a guy called Vinny Lazaro. He played reserves at Geelong a year or two before. He played 10 games for us that year, won the Bowden medal in those 10 games, which was the equivalent of the Sandover or the Brownlow for the Sunday League. 7 best on grounds and won third, so won it with 22 votes. And I can remember a game against Gosnells had over 50 possessions and kicked 9 goals from the centre.
Oh,
Holy shit!
He was handy, and that's to never, ever, ever judge a bloke by how they look. Because I tell you what, he was an unusual shape, but he could find the ball. He's like a Greg Williams sort of bloke, you know. It was brilliant. So, yeah, I just can remember, mate. What are you doing here? You going playing with us? Sorry, I digress.
That's right. That's good. Classic. No worries. Well, the last question we usually ask all our guests, Wade, and these are all current players, but the question is that if you had your time, you get your choice, you knew that your last game was your last game and you're going to be chaired off at the end of the season. You had to choose 2 people to chair you off. Who would chair you off? Did you actually? I mean, your last game was an injury pretty much, and that was pretty much the end of your career, wasn't it? As far as at the club, wasn't it? If you had your time, and if you could choose anyone, who would you choose to chair you off?
Good question. Played with some good blokes, good player. Always enjoyed. I reckon actually I'll probably the romantic answer might be Troy and Adam. That would be true.
Troy would not be a part of it, I don't think. You would.
I'll go with the first bloke, guy Johnny Clary. Who I played Colts with down there, and we both went through the league. So we played 2 years of Colts together, and have become good mates. Then played both when Carps was coaching, gave us a shot in the league. And so it would be nice. It would have been nice for him, a guy I started out with and got a lot of time for. And the other bloke, I reckon I'd choose. I grew up with, from primary school, went through juniors together, Colts together, and played league together, was probably Phil Martino. A really nice bloke who an old friend who, I reckon I wouldn't have been upset. Phil was a little goat, and Johnny was a bit taller, so it might have been a bit lopsided.
Usually are.
But both good blokes, and both blokes I started out with and got a lot of time for. So I think I'll go with that.
Beautiful.
Nice one.
Well, that just about wraps it up, Wade. Really well done.
I haven't talked too much.
No worries. Tills, is there anything you want to add before, or anything you want to say before I throw it to Wade as one last sign off?
No, I'm just sitting back and enjoying the conversation. Far away.
How did we finish up with the soccer, the match? I know you boys were probably watching much of the game. Were you watching it all the way through the interview, the podcast?
Yeah, Sweden's 1-0.
80 minutes.
Is it still going?
Yeah.
All right.
Huge. Well, the kids getting fired up.
Well, Wade, look, I've got to say on behalf of Tills and mate and myself, thank you very much for being a part of our podcast. It's been really good to have you on. It's always good to have people and talking on the podcast. It's a bit of a pleasant surprise each time we do these, but it's good to have someone who I have a close history with, like a long storied history, of course, with the three of us there, and really do appreciate, Wade, when I asked you, I thought, I don't know if you want to be a part of it, but you said, yeah, no problems, and really appreciate you being part of the podcast this evening, mate. It's been really good.
Well, thank you, Damo, for having me. Thank you, Till, for having me.
Thank you, Tass.
My debut podcast. So, it was good fun, and good on you guys for doing it. It's anything that people can do to drum up interest or in the club or advertise or promote the club's fantastic. And and Damo, well, just saying, I suppose you've been unbelievable this year with all your efforts trying to get the social functions and fundraising activities going. So, good on you for that, and great idea with the podcast.
No problem.
Gilbo, club stalwart, club legend, machine over a number of years,
Yes.
and taking on more now by helping promote the club on the podcast. Fantastic. A lot of respect for you blokes, and keep up the good work.
No worries. Having to wake up tills every time we do a podcast, Wade. It's like, I'll just give myself awake here.
I was just drifting off before, but I'm glad you gave me the heads up beforehand, Damo.
Yeah, usually give you 10 minutes just to get yourself ready and clear the voice and get it all ready.
That's right.
So thanks again, Wade. Look, absolutely no problems. And to all our listeners tonight, thank you very much for tuning in. Absolutely, please come down this weekend. I mean, consider this a call to arms for our club. If you haven't heard it yet, the club really needs you. I say it at the end of each podcast. You want it. You need it. Your time is now. You're important each and every. If you don't think that your presence isn't going to be needed at the club, well, you're dead wrong. Everyone at the club, every past, present, playing, non-playing, you are important and you're needed right now. So the best way to do that is come down this, if not on Thursday, come down this Saturday to help our boys, both our league and reserves, get over Bull Creek Leaming for our 11th round, so around to get some sort of positivity out there. And hey, stranger things have happened. If any club can do it, it's going to be us. So on behalf of Daniel Tilby and myself, guys, this is from the House of the Holly. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening and go get them Saints this weekend.